Welcome back, Lincoln currency coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history buffs. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into the fascinating world of the 1980 Lincoln cent, more commonly known as the Lincoln penny. You might have one sitting in your change jar right now, but could it be worth millions? Maybe even $90 million? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know everything there is to know about the 1981 cent coin, its mint marks, its history, the varieties that can command massive prices, and why some believe these tiny copper coins could be worth a small fortune. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, originally issued to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin broke tradition by featuring a real person, Lincoln, on U.S. coinage, which was a major shift at the time. The wheat ears on the reverse side remained until 1958, when the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, starting in 1959 and continuing through to 2008. Fast forward to 1980. The Lincoln penny in that year was still made primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, to be exact, before the major composition change that occurred in 1982, when the U.S. Mint shifted to a primarily zinc composition with a thin copper plating due to rising metal costs. That makes the 1980 penny part of the last generation of copper-heavy 1-cent pieces, a factor that already adds a degree of numismatic and intrinsic value to it. Now, there were 3 mint marks associated with the 1980 penny, none for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Most 1980 pennies were produced in huge numbers, billions, in fact. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 7.4 billion, Denver added another 5.1 billion, and San Francisco minted a more modest 3.5 million proof coins. So yes, in general, 1980 pennies are extremely common. But as with all things in numismatics, the devil is in the details. That's where errors, varieties, and condition come into play. First, let's talk about proof coins. Proof pennies from 1980, struck at the San Francisco Mint, are beautifully made using specially prepared dies and polished planchets. These coins weren't meant for circulation and were sold to collectors in proof sets. A perfect proof 70 example can sell for upwards of several $100s, depending on the market. But what really drives the big value? It's the rare errors and unique anomalies that occur during the minting process. Some of the most valuable 1980 pennies are those that feature dramatic errors. Double die averse, for example, where the doubling of the date or the lettering is visible to the naked eye, can dramatically increase a coin's value. Although no widely publicized double die varieties have been confirmed for the 1980 Lincoln cent at the same level of fame as the 1955 or 1969 S double dies, rare examples still slip through the cracks. Collectors and error hunters look closely at the motto, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date for any signs of doubling. If found and authenticated, such a coin could easily fetch thousands, even tens of thousands, depending on the severity and clarity of the error. Then we have off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the dies, resulting in a portion of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center error, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 50% off-center strike with a full visible date and mint mark can sell for hundreds of dollars, even in circulated condition. There are also clipped planchet errors, die cracks, and even transitional planchet errors. Although transitional errors are more commonly associated with 1982, there is always the chance that some experimental or test planchets were used incorrectly, making those coins exceptionally rare. Keep in mind that authentication by a reputable third-party grading service such as PCGS or NGC is essential for such high-value claims. And what about condition? A coin's grade can make or break its value. A 1980 Lincoln penny in poor, circulated condition is generally worth just 1 cent. But find one in uncirculated, mint state condition, particularly one graded MS67 or higher, and you're looking at a coin that could bring in hundreds of dollars at auction. The top population coins, meaning the highest grade known for that date and mint mark, are always in high demand by registry set collectors who compete to own the finest known example. So now you're wondering, where does the $90 million figure come into play? Is there really a 1980 penny worth that much? Here's the truth. As of this recording, there is no publicly documented sale of a 1980 penny fetching anywhere close to $90 million. However, there are multiple viral posts and rumors online that suggest some coins, either through rare errors, unique compositions, or misstrikes, could be worth that much to the right buyer. Much of this hype is driven by clickbait headlines, urban legends, or misunderstandings about coin grading and rarity. That being said, some coins have indeed sold for mind-boggling amounts, just not 1980 pennies, at least not yet. For example, the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent sold for over $1 million, and the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar fetched over $10 million. Could a 1980 penny ever sell for $90 million? Theoretically, if a truly unique error were discovered, something like a 1980 Lincoln cent struck on a gold planchet, or a coin with a rare experimental composition, or one involved in a major historical event, it could attract intense bidding from wealthy collectors. Rarity, demand, and a good story are what drive prices into the stratosphere. Right now, you'll find 1980 pennies listed on online marketplaces like eBay or auction houses like Heritage Auctions with asking prices ranging from a few cents to several $1,000s. Many of these high-value listings are for coins with errors, high grades, or simply unrealistic expectations. Always be cautious and consult reputable coin dealers or grading services before making a purchase or submitting a coin for grading. But don't let that discourage you. The magic of coin collecting lies in the hunt. That jar of pennies on your dresser might hold more than just face value. With the right magnifying glass, a bit of knowledge, and a lot of curiosity, you might discover a valuable variety hiding in plain sight. So if you come across a 1980 penny, especially one in excellent condition or with a strange error, don't toss it aside. Examine it carefully. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual weights, or odd coloration. Weigh it. Should be about 3.11 grams for a regular copper coin. If it weighs significantly less, it could be a zinc error or foreign planchet. Always check the mint mark, D for Denver, S for San Francisco proof coins, and no mark for Philadelphia. And remember, while the vast majority of 1980 pennies are worth only a cent, the rare ones, the exceptional ones, the once-in-a-lifetime finds, those are the coins that legends are made of. In the end, is your 1980 penny worth $90 million? Probably not. But is it worth looking a little closer, learning a little more, and maybe sending in for grading? Absolutely. Because every great treasure starts as an overlooked artifact. And in the world of numismatics, even a humble penny can turn into a life-changing discovery. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden world of rare coins, minting mysteries, and treasure hunting. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep checking your change. Would you like a shorter, social media-friendly version of this script as well? If you've ever searched through your pocket change, you've probably come across a Lincoln penny. It's one of the most common coins in American circulation. But did you know that one seemingly ordinary penny, specifically the 2004 Lincoln cent, has caused a storm of interest among collectors and coin enthusiasts? It's a story of mint marks, copper-plated zinc, rare errors, and a myth that has inflated the value of this coin in public imagination to as much as $90 million. The 2004 Lincoln cent, at first glance, looks like just another modern penny. It features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the reverse side, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been standard since 1959. And in the lower right quadrant of the obverse, a small D mint mark reveals the coin's origin, the Denver Mint. Now let's get into the heart of the story. Over 3.4 billion of these coins were minted in 2004 in Denver alone, making it one of the most common modern coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. That's right, billions with a B. So why all the hype? Why are people talking about a single 2004 penny being worth $90 million? To understand this, we have to break down a few things. First, let's talk about minting errors and varieties, two of the most important drivers of value in the world of numismatics. When it comes to the 2004 penny, certain rare errors have indeed been documented. These include off-center strikes, double dies, and die cracks. Among the most notable varieties, some collectors have identified a doubled ear on Lincoln or anomalies around the date and mint mark. Now let's pause here and understand what these terms mean. A doubled die error occurs when the coin's die, the metal stamp that imprints the image onto the coin, is engraved twice at slightly different angles. This results in a visible doubling of features like letters, numbers, or Lincoln's ear. For a sharp-eyed collector, spotting such errors in pocket change can be a ticket to significant value, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the rarity and condition. As for off-center strikes, these happen when the blank coin, or planchet, isn't properly aligned under the die. The result is a coin that appears asymmetrical, with part of the design missing. Some of these can be dramatic and highly sought after, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. So back to the 2004. Most of these coins are worth just 1 cent, and in uncirculated condition, maybe up to 25 or 30 cents. However, when you add in a rare mint error, especially one verified by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC, that value can shoot up to hundreds or even low thousands of dollars. For example, a 2004 penny with a prominent double die and in mint state condition could bring in $200 to $1,000 depending on the buyer and the market at the time. But here's where the story gets wild. Internet rumors, misleading articles, and social media videos have created a narrative that a single 2004 penny sold, or is worth, $90 million. Let's be clear. There is no documented case of any Lincoln cent from 2004 or any modern U.S. penny selling for anything remotely close to $90 million. The highest auction prices ever paid for U.S. coins are for extremely rare historical pieces like the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar, or the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle, coins with both extreme rarity and historical significance. The $90 million figure likely emerged from a combination of online myths and misunderstandings. Some YouTube creators, in a rush to generate clicks and views, may have taken the value of rare coins grossly out of context, slapping astronomical figures onto common dates to drive interest. In the world of numismatics, value depends on verified rarity, condition, and demand. Without those elements, no coin will ever come close to such fantasy prices. Now, that doesn't mean you should dismiss the 2004 penny altogether. There are valuable versions of it, and checking your change is never a bad idea. It's a great way to get introduced to coin collecting, especially when you start noticing subtle variations. If you find a 2004 penny that looks odd, say the ear looks doubled, or the date seems slightly distorted, consider setting it aside. You might want to consult a coin grading company or at least post clear photos on a reputable coin forum. Let's also talk briefly about the composition of this coin. Since 1982, U.S. pennies have been made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. That's why modern pennies feel lighter than their pre-1982 counterparts, which were 95% copper. Occasionally, a minting mix-up results in coins being struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a 2004 penny struck on a silver dime blank, for example. That would be a genuine mint error and could easily sell for hundreds or thousands, depending on condition and provenance. Coin collectors also look at grade, a scale from 1 to 70 that measures the coin's condition. A mint state 68 or 69 2004 penny is rare because most coins from circulation have scratches, wear, or discoloration. Coins in perfect condition are the ones that tend to attract premium prices. But again, we're talking tens or hundreds of dollars, not millions. Let's recap the facts. The 2004 Lincoln cent is a common coin, minted in the billions. Most are worth 1 cent. Some with mint errors or in high grades can be worth more. Rare error versions might sell for a few $100s, and in extremely rare cases, $1,000 or more. But the idea that a 2004 D penny is worth $90 million? That's a myth. No collector or auction house has ever confirmed a sale or appraisal of such magnitude. That said, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Coins that were once common can suddenly become rare if new varieties or errors are discovered. That's why it's worth paying attention to what's in your pocket, researching your finds, and learning about the minting process. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to discover a previously unknown error or variety that does fetch a massive price at auction.so. Next time you see a 2004 D penny, don't just toss it in your piggy bank. Take a closer look. Does Lincoln's ear look doubled? Is the coin off-center? Is there something odd about the mint mark? If so, you might have something special. But remember, genuine value comes not from viral claims or exaggerated headlines, but from rarity, condition, and collector demand. The journey of the Lincoln cent is a fascinating one. From its introduction in 1909 to today, it has reflected over a century of American history. And while the 2004 D penny might not be worth $90 million, it's still a small piece of that larger story, a story that continues to unfold, one coin at a time. Have you checked your change today? Would you like this in a downloadable script format or with visual cue suggestions for editing?